What's going on, guys? It's Brandon back here again for some morning filming today. So this video was supposed to go out yesterday, however I ran out of time, so I was not able to record and upload this video. Game 63 versus the Ottawa Senators at 8 p.m. It was a late game for a Chicago game on March 6th. The score? 5-0 Chicago. I want to know who saw this coming. Chicago having lost 4 in a row coming into this, Ottawa having won 5 in a row. The Hawks go to 22, 36, and 5. It is officially impossible for them to be the worst team of the 2000th century, the 21st century. And they surpassed the Colorado Avalanche of 2016-17, who had only 48 points. And that was a team with McKinnon, Rantanen, Landeskog, Tyson Barrie, Eric Johnson, Carl Soderberg, Varlamov was in net. I don't know how that team only won 48 games, or only had 48 points. That's equivalent to 24 wins, and there's no way they had 24 wins. So, so the shots were... The game actually was pretty tilted in Ottawa's favor. Shots were 35-21 Ottawa, hits were 32-20 Ottawa, faceoffs 29-22 Ottawa. On the power play, Chicago goes 0 for 5. Ottawa, with their top 10 power play, goes 0 for 4. Scott Foster was the e-bug for Ottawa to start the game. He's been here and there every so often this season. Ottawa's backup didn't arrive until the start of the second periods, and there was no way he was going to go in, so Sogard kind of got left out to dry. It was DeBricket's first game back in Chicago as an Ottawa Senator. Stalock saves 35 out of 35 in the shutout, his 11th career and second this season. Sogard saves 16 out of 21. In the first period, at 16:18, it's an Ottawa penalty to Hamonic for tripping, which would be killed. Because at 15:30, it's a Chicago penalty to Athanasiou for tripping, which would be killed. It was 4-on-4 for a minute and 12 seconds, and then it was a power play for Ottawa for 48 seconds. Kara has a shorthanded break saved. Chychrun is stopped, and then DeBricket tribute video starts 8 minutes into the first period. He gets a standing ovation. He does a salute to the crowd. I was telling my dad the best pure goal scorer the Hawks have had since the start of the century. I mean, Daze was good, however, he got hurt a lot, and of course you had Kane, who had 2 40-goal seasons, but that was much later in his career. That was already over 10 years, or that was 9 years, and then he had another one 12 years into his career. This was in DeBricket's first 5 years in the thing, and then he had another 38 in that shortened season. He should have had 3 40-goal seasons. Giroux hits the post and misses a second chance, and then Chychrun stopped. 7:46, Chicago penalty to Zaitsev for hooking, which would be killed. Batherson is stopped. Ottawa was in full control. Hawks can't even get the puck out. Ottawa's backup goalie arrives on the bench arrives, I should just say in general. They're showing him arriving near the end of the first. Shots were 11-3 Ottawa. Zaitsev levels Gambrell, and then Kara has a big hit on Kastolik, which Tkachuk and Caleb Jones then are bickering at the horn. And then at 3:38, it's a Chicago toe drag goal. Right after I said it's 11-3, shots were 11-3. Philip Kurashev scores his 9th of the season after it was a fantastic toe drag around. I wanted to say it was Kastolik maybe 9th of the season from Tenorti to make it 1-0. Stalock way out of position as the clock runs out, and it was lucky the puck didn't go in. That's when Tkachuk and Caleb Jones started bickering. We go to the second period where, because of the bickering that was happening, 20 minutes, that's a 4-on-4 start of the second period. Chicago and Ottawa both get penalties. Caleb Jones and Brady Tkachuk both get 2 for roughing, so it's 4-on-4. And then right as the 4-on-4 ends at 18 minutes, it's a tic-tac-toe goal. Seth Jones, 9th of the season, from the newly acquired Anders Bjork and Dickinson to make it 2-0. Watson has some big hits on Zaitsev and Englund. Englund had left the game and would not return, so we'll see how that is. Sogard collided with Zub on the play So Sogard collided with Zub on the play after the first Seth Jones goal. So and then the backup had just arrived on the bench, so he was not going to go in fresh, so Sogard stayed in. He played through it. I'm not sure if he has an injury, but he played well the rest of the game. No thanks to his team. His team kind of was all offense and then did not play defense. Shots were 17-7 Ottawa when at 14:31 it's a Chicago snipe goal from Seth Jones. 10th of the season from, once again, Bjork, and then Athanasiou having now... He'd have a couple assists. That makes it 3-0. Kurashev to Reichel to Athanasiou hits the post. Athanasiou is stopped. And then at 9:29, it's another Chicago goal. This time it's Jason Dickinson, 9th of the season, from Bjork once again, his 3rd assist of the game, an Entwistle to make it 4-0. And at this point, I'm sitting there like, okay, this game's over, and I would be right. Ottawa calls a timeout, and basically there's like no more odd-man rushes, because every time Chicago was scoring, it was on an odd-man rush. You know what happened after that? More odd-man rushes. Ottawa just did not have it tonight. Or that night at this point. 7:44, Ottawa penalty to Giroux for slashing, which would be killed. Chychrun breakaway shorthanded, big save. 3-on-1 shorthanded for Chicago's a chance wide because at 5 minutes it's a Chicago penalty to Zaitsev for tripping. That would be killed. Power play looked abysmal when I put for the one when Giroux was in the box. Pinto blocked, Tkachuk denied, Tkachuk rams Stalock, and then Tenorti goes after him. So at 4:01, it's Chicago and Ottawa both get penalties. It's Tenorti and Tkachuk for fighting as they drop the gloves. But at 4:01, Tenorti somehow gets the extra penalty served by Athanasiou for the instigator. Although Tkachuk rammed Stalock, so how is that an instigator when Tkachuk was the one that rammed his goaltender? I wrote BS down there. Shots were 27-14 Ottawa at the end of the period. Bjork creates a turnover, has a breakaway, and is saved twice. Athanasiou is then saved once. We go to the third. We're at 16:42. Before we go to the third, we go to intermission, where Kendall Coyne Schofield, if you don't know her, she was on the women's USA national team. She's a Blackhawks. She's one of the Blackhawks player development coaches, and she was in the booth to start the game. It's Women's History Month, so they're doing all this stuff with that. Really cool to hear some stories from her. I remember watching players like her when I was younger. Hillary Knight. I think it was Amanda Kessel. I don't remember the full thing. I just know names here and there because when it was on TV, I'd watch it. It was always USA and Canada in the final. So then we go to the third, where Entwistle is stopped, and at 16:42, it's a Chicago breakaway backhand beautiful goal. Lucas Reichel has a second of his career, second of the season from Athanasiou to make it 5-0. And at this point, I'm just thinking, make it 7 at this point, go big or go home. Gutman was hurt on a block, he would stay in. Tyler Johnson is saved. Chychrun is stopped. Bjork is blocked. 15:25, Ottawa penalty to Batherson for hooking, which would be killed. 11:22, Ottawa penalty to Gambrell for high sticking, which would be killed. Seth Jones is then robbed of the hat trick. Tkachuk is still yapping at the Hawks. Chippy in front of the Hawks bench. I'll be back in a moment. Sorry about that, guys. So it's Chippy in front of the Hawks net, or the Hawks bench, I should say. Kara and Kastelik are having words. Tkachuk challenges Stalock, and he's yapping at everyone on the Hawks. And at 5:41, there's 3 10-minute misconducts handed out. Of the Ottawa Senators, Kastelik, Watson, and Tkachuk. No Hawks that get a penalty there. And at 5:41, Ottawa gets the extra penalty. It's Watson who gets it for cross-checking, which would be served by Gauthier, which would be killed, and that would end the game. An embarrassing loss for Ottawa. That hurts them in the playoff race. Buffalo, luckily for them, has not been winning, and Islanders have, and Pittsburgh has now, so it's getting even stranger. East is a dogfight, and right now these two are making up ground that these 5-ish don't have. Be back in a moment. Sorry about that once again. That's all I have for you guys today, so I'd like to thank you all so much for watching. Game on national television tonight against Detroit, and I shall see you guys tomorrow in the next one, hopefully. See ya. Have a good day.